Hi, my name is Romel Horado Ugang. Uh, Before I start, I've I've done a few videos before already, and this will be practically the first formal video that I'm gonna start with, and I'm gonna compile this on a weekly basis starting today. Today is March 11, 2017, right? So before I start, let me give an overview of myself. Well, let me repeat it again. My name is Romel Horado Ugang. I was born April 23, 1976 in Cebu City. My parents are attorney Rodolfo A. Ugang Sr. My mother is Engineer Horado Ugang. My father is born in Cebu City while my mother hails from Butuan City in Mindanao. I belong to a family of 10 children. So I'm the third. We were 6 boys and there are 4 girls. So we were all born and raised in Cebu City. I finished my elementary studies at Zapatero Elementary School. I finished my high school in Cebu Normal University. And I finished college at the University of San Carlos, also in Cebu City. So, before I graduated college, I work in a bank, Banco Filipino Savings and Mortgage Bank, as a part-time bookkeeper, part-time accountant. I work in the morning and then in the afternoon I go to school to finish my accountancy studies. Right after graduation, I'm gonna tell you this. I took the board exam and failed once. That was in October 1997, after I graduated accountancy in March 1997. I was a bit depressed, for I have a high expectation of myself. At that time I was very confident, but I failed, and I was not planning to take the board exam again. So I was thinking I'm just gonna work. So I worked. I got hired by another bank, Allied Banking Corporation, as an internal auditor. There was, I had plenty of applications actually. I was considering also a position as an accountant for Metro Bank, but I find it more exciting and more appealing to be an internal auditor with Allied Bank. So I was hired March 1998. And then, okay, I started my audit work, traveled, and then I met my wife in Quezon City, Irene, and that was in December 1998. So I flew back and forth to Manila every time I have time and the means to do so, until I proposed to her for marriage sometime in 1999. Then we were married in last January 29, 2000. And so we were blessed with 3 kids, Romel Jr., Ryan Kobe, and Resikiel. So Romel Jr. was born August 6, 2002 in Cebu City. Then we transferred to Manila, and I was still working in Allied Bank, but not as an internal auditor anymore, but as a loans supervisor or a loans examiner in Makati City head office. So when we transferred to Manila, Ryan Kobe was born on February 18, 2005. And then 2 years later, Rezekiel was born March 16, 2007. So it was at that moment that we were financially struggling really hard due to the cesarean operations of my wife. And then there was really no plan to go abroad, but at that point I was really financially tight, and credit card companies, loan companies are calling me, and seems that at that time I had no choice but to work abroad. So I applied with workabroad.com and went to a certain agency that get me hired by an employer in Dubai. So I flew on July 7th, 2007, just a few months after Rezekiel's birth. So it was pretty hard to leave our youngest son, still a few months older. So I went with a heavy heart, and I flew on the plane to Dubai. And that was my start of adventure, working abroad. So today is March 11, 2017. So coming July 7, 2017, I'll be 10 years working abroad, and that's one of the reasons why I record this video, is because I want to look back how I was doing over the past 10 years. Well, I achieved a lot of things. There are so many adventures that I went through, heartaches, failures. But the important thing are the experiences that went through it along the way. So this is what I'm really planning to do. What will I do in the next 10 years? Shall I continue doing at this pace? Or shall I do a drastic change to change my life and for my family and for all my loved ones? So I was hired on that July 7, 2007 by basically an Indian company based in Dubai. Their name is Eros Group, Eros Electricals to be exact. I worked there as an internal auditor, and when I was hired, back in the Philippines, I was interviewed by their CEO and their HR manager, and I was given a 3-year contract, and I can go home every 2 years. So I was given the salary at the time was around 4,200 dirhams. So that's roughly less than 50,000 pesos. So they promised me to assess me after a year and probably give me a raise, pay increase after 1 year. So when 1 year passed by, I happened to ask the HR manager regarding what we talk about in the Philippines. But she did not say anything about the promotion or increase. So I was a bit disappointed. So it was at that point that I was looking for greener pasture or better opportunities in Dubai. And but the stroke of luck, or by God's hand, God's grace, a friend of mine uh, in in the church, her name is Mary Ann Salcedo. She she knows that I'm an accountant, a CPA, so she asked me if I'm willing to apply for Weatherford as they urgently needed an accountant. So I submitted to her through email my my resume, my CV, and immediately on that same day or in the next morning, I got a call from the financial controller and the HR manager of Weatherford for an interview the next day. So I went there, got interviewed, and immediately they want me to hop on board, join the team as soon as possible. So I told them that I have this situation in the company, with my current company, and they said just come to work and we'll do the rest. So it means that I have to tender my resignation, but the contract says I have to give 90-day notice. So what I did was the next day I tendered my resignation, and the CEO was furious to me, shouted at me, challenging me to the point that he told me, it's like verbally abusing me, telling me that he gonna ban me with the immigration, the labor, and he said that why are you Filipinos doing like this? That if you find another job, you transfer right away. And I told him, okay, fine, but I have this offer. If you can match this, then I'll stay. But he's not willing to match. So I proceeded with the notice, and then I still work there as an auditor. Then 5 o'clock I rushed to Weatherford, like work in the evening, a few hours. So basically I had two jobs at the time. From I can remember it was sometime late June 27, 2008. I started there. Then yeah, Weatherford was really generous to me. They took care of everything until September 1, 2008. They just told me to exit, make my exit to Oman, and that's it. They fixed everything. When I come back to Dubai, my visa is now fixed. I got a stamp, Weatherford stamp already. So that's how I started with Weatherford. And then fast forward now here. At this very moment, I'm in Kuwait. I'm still with Weatherford. Their branch in Kuwait is United Precision Drilling. I was transferred here from June 24, 2010 from the Dubai office. So I'm not really going to more details about how I was transferred or what happened in between those years. Maybe I can discuss them in a later segment or a later video. But what I'm gonna focus right now is how I'm gonna move forward as I'm approaching my 10th year working abroad. So what are my plans and strategies in place that I will not stay longer here? So what I'm trying to say is I'd like to share what I heard before from Bo Sanchez. Uh, before just a year after I went abroad. So I heard one of his video. He said there are two things in life that are major issues in life that we need to take care of. One is if we die early, and the second is if we live longer. So he said that these are two major issues in life. So if we die early, then we don't have something in place for our families. So that will cause a huge problem, because if we are the breadwinner. the breadwinner of the family. And if we live longer, then we're no longer in the peak of our careers, and we have nothing to offer anymore to the companies, so we're retired. But if we have nothing in place for retirement, then we're going to be a burden to our children and to other relatives. So that's an issue that needs to be addressed while we are still in the peak of our careers. Right now, I'm 40 years old. I'm working almost 20 years total now, since I started working in my 20s. So now I'm 40. So 20 years working, and yeah, there are some investments I've made, real estate, a vehicle, especially for my children's education. I got it from one of my benefits in Weatherford are my schools, my children's schooling are free. So, but and I had invested also in insurance, as what Bo Sanchez said on the first problem, if we're gonna die early. So that's the problem that I addressed in December 2008, and I realized that I need an insurance because I don't believe in insurance before. I just told myself that I just have to have faith in God that nothing will happen to me, nothing drastic will happen to me and my family. But human as we are, we need to do something to protect ourselves, because yeah, God hears our prayers, but God wants us to do our part as well. So I got a Sun Life insurance to protect me and my family in case whatever happens to me. And I also invest in Citysec Online in case I live longer. So little by little each month I put something there in Citysec Online for long-term retirement. So what happens in between will be some of my business ventures and investments, short-term investments. So just for me to have a peace of mind, that's what I did. Peace of mind that everything will be taken care of in case something will happen to me. I'm insured with Sun Life, and in case I live longer, then I have a retirement plan with Citysec Online. So what my focus of this video is what happens in between now, my 40th year, and my retirement years. I'm not really saying I'm gonna retire by 60, or let's say I have 40 more fruitful years, so up to 80 years old. So this is my focus now. What will I do between now and my 80th year? And God willing, I will live longer by 100 years, which I'm focusing on reaching that goal so that I have more fruitful years. I can establish my legacy for the next generations, for my children and their children's as well. So this is what I'm focusing right now. So one of the ideas I made based on what I really love to do, being an accountant. So I was just fascinated with trading. Trading means exchange between people. So if you see the history of money, how money evolved from the very start. It started as a means of exchange. Before there was exchange of goods only. Exchange rice for chicken, for example, which is very there's no equal exchange. So that's why money was developed at that time. So let's just move forward. So what I'm gonna do right now is, just recently I discovered while browsing along the internet, and I really deep inside my heart, I really know that I love trading. And I was amazed how these guys in Wall Street are doing. I saw some videos, people doing trading, making lots of money through the internet. So I told myself, if they can do it, well, I can do it. So I'll just do research on my own, trust my instinct, trust my talents and abilities that I can do it. But there's always a risk, of course. Each day, there's always a risk. You risk your life. When you wake up, you risk going to work for some things that you need to do at home. So there's always a risk. So the higher the risk, the greater the reward. So that's my point here. So the important thing is you minimize the risk, control the risk by studying, continue research, enhance your skills. So in that way, the risks are contained or controlled in a certain level. So sometimes it was sometime in, when was that? October 2013. I discovered this modern type of forex trading. They call it binary options trading. So this is kind of uh, a combination of forex trading and the, what you call, it's really more, there's a 50-50 chance of winning. That's plain and simple. But you just need a strategy to win over time. And I believe over time, since October 2013 until now, I've developed a certain strategy which really fit for me as I'm still working right now. So what I did is, before I enter the trading platform, I'll have to check the news first. Okay, so I've checked the news, and right now I'm just focusing on the Euro US dollar pairs. I'll start there because I don't want to complicate things. So I'll go to the news, what for the day, for example, Monday to Fridays. It's a working day, working days. So I'll check the news, check if there are major events that can affect these two markets, Europe and US markets. So I will trade when both markets are open. So it will be between, after my office hours of course, between 3 p.m. and 7 p.m. Kuwait time. So I will take advantage of this time period to trade, to do my trading, like 4 hour period each day. Although there are some brokers, or the broker I'm using, IQ Option, they're open even on weekends, Saturday, Sunday. So they call it over-the-counter trading, OTC trading. So then I will make my strategy. Currently, by the way, I've been losing a lot of money, but for me, losing is part of the game. You will only consider yourself as a failure once you quit. But for me, deep inside myself, my heart and mind and soul, I knew I can succeed. So I just have to contain my fears, my emotions, that I will not be so much overwhelmed by greed. Sometimes I win a lot, or I'll not be too much discouraged when I lose. If I encountered a losing day, then that's it. Uh, Consider it a day, then move forward to tomorrow and look again for another successful trades. So that's my philosophy in trading. So what I'm doing is like I'm using a martingale strategy. So if I lose one trade, for example, I'll take another shot and another and up to 8 levels of trades. So if I reach 8 level and still losing, I don't think so. Based on my current strategy, so I will look forward to stopping and start again to the first level. So, but what I discovered, I made I made my trades using practice account since November, first week of November 2016. So right now, I had a balance of around 45,000. So let me just show you live. Let me just show you my account balance.